Welcome back, you guys, or if it's your first time here, thank you so much for checking out Galadon Gaming Clash Royale action. And recently I was browsing the leaderboards, as I tend to do jealously. I was looking for the highest level 12 player in the world, just going down through all the 13s, all these different players, and sure enough, wouldn't you know it, in the 50s, between 50th and 60th, number 55, a level 11 player. Now, he had been as high as around the top 30 and using this deck and over 90,000 cards won in tournaments. So I thought, well, if it's working for him, it's probably going to work for me, right? Well, okay, not necessarily, but this does tend to support the argument that I hear most frequently right now, and that is the complaint that the Giant of all units is the most overpowered, overused unit in the game right now. And if you look at the leaderboard, about 8 of the top 10 players in Global have a Giant meta deck or just a Giant deck of some sort. So the Giant really taking over, and like I always say, if you see this happening with any specific card, then I would expect to see that card nerfed in the near future. So my prediction, the next balancing update, we will see a decrease in the amount of damage that the Giant does. I think the hit point's probably okay, but I'm going to predict, it's going to be like 6% or 9% damage decrease of the output of the regular Giant. Now, of course, we hear complaints about the Bowler being overpowered, the Royal Giant, even the Balloon, and sometimes, of course, Sparky. But right now, I feel like the most overused card is the Giant, and it's very common to see the Giant being used at, say, arenas 5, 6, 7, but now you're seeing it consistently at arenas 8 and 9. Now, my personal opinion is I don't like the Giant. I don't really care for playing it, and the Giant Balloon combination has never been something that I've really been able to get down. So I figured I would give it a try. I'm trying it here, as you can see, on my level 10 account. Now, I've got like 4 different accounts, one of which is free to play. I have my maxed out level 13. I've got this level 10. I've got a level 8 account that I just gemmed up so I could start more tournaments, and now I have my free-to-play account that just recently made it to level 7, and once it makes it to level 8, then I will be able to run 4 tournaments concurrently. I'm looking forward to that, but I'm not going to gem it, just going to wait until I get to level 8 naturally. So now I took out this guy's tower, I took the King's Tower down from FKVN, and instead of pushing for the other tower, I figured I would just try to keep the pressure on, throw in another balloon. You can see he's got the cannon in there. He is going to successfully keep me from 3 crowning him as the balloon gets dragged all the way over to the other tower, drops a couple of bombs before it falls. But again, Giants all over the place, you guys. It's a great card. I know that I'm not a professional at using it. Obviously, there are really good ways to use a Giant to peel off supporting units off of another player's Giant, and of course to get into the tower. It's always been kind of a sleeper card, in that the idea, you would think, is just to use the Giant to tank for your other units. But if you can get a Giant into a tower, especially an enraged Giant with a rage spell or a lumberjack spell, that Giant is just going to demolish the tower. Here, just a matter of keeping him off, and we finish the match grabbing the 1-0 victory. So, I'm not the greatest at this deck, so I thought I'd ask a couple of my fellow clanmates from other clans. This one, Mud Player 193, don't ask me, I have no idea what his name means, but he is from FA Zirconia. So Mud, using the same deck that we just saw, obviously you've got to unlock the princess in order to be able to use that legendary card, but I've done enough talking about legendary cards lately, so we'll just let that one sit until we hear some good news from the Clash Royale team. Now, we've got a lot of defensive cards here. I love the Barbarians for countering the Giant, the Royal Giant, even a Sparky, the Minions as well. The Arrows, pretty versatile. People kind of leaning towards the Arrows a little bit more ever since that last Zap nerf. And right here, Mud is in big trouble. Valkyrie, Prince, Giant moving in. You can see the Prince kind of hide behind the Giant. He gets in there now. He dropped the barbs late. I might have dropped him further, but I think his idea here was to try to get his Giant to eat the charge from the Prince so that the barbs could do the work, and he is going to suffer a lot of damage despite countering that pretty effectively. The poison expires, the Princess survives, his Giant doesn't quite get to the tower, and he is way behind with less than 2 minutes to go. But Mud not giving up. He's a true FA player, and he is going to drop another Elixir Collector and try to get back at it. You can see he's going to have to face another push here. This time he does drop the barbs in behind the Giant. I love this guy using the log. The log, very effective, and unfortunately for Mud, log zap takes out so many of his units. He loses the tower. The Giant moves on. Arrow clears out the units behind the Giant, which is important. Like we always say, anything behind the Giant, even if it's got 1 hit point left, can do a world of hurt to your towers. And now Mud truly has a deep, deep hole to dig himself out of, with the right tower of his opponent just barely under 2,000 hit points and just over a minute to go. But here it is, the Giant Loon push, and the Prince is going to counter the Giant. Nothing, you can see in the cards that his opponent has, nothing was there to counter that balloon. And the balloon, unfettered, unslowed, even avoids the poison spell, is going to get in there and take that tower down. And suddenly, this battle is tied. The Prince gets to the tower, but not a lot of damage there. The opponent dropping another Giant at the river, a little bit further back, trying to give him time to put something else with it. Here he goes again, Giant guards, and I'm guessing probably the Musketeer next. And rather than that, he's actually going defensive. He drops the Elixir Collector, another log. So you see he's using log zap, but it did not finish off that group of barbs, and that is the key right there. The barbs surviving the log zap assault. Obviously, that would be effective on other units, but with the Barbarians, they survive, they get in there, and you can see left lane as time counts down, another Giant Loon push, but his opponent pushing for the King's Tower hard. Time is going to count down, and somebody is going to win this before time runs out, and there it is. Just barely, Mud grabs the tower, maybe a split second before he gets 3 crowned himself and grabs the 2-1 win. So a powerful deck, but is it overpowered? Not necessarily. Again, I think that the Giant may see a little bit of a nerf simply because we see so frequent balances from the Clash Royale team, and I feel like they always try to bring cards in line. The cards that are being used the least are going to see a bit of an improvement. The cards that are being used the most are likely going to be nerfed. Right here, Paven from full attack, level 11 versus 12. The Inferno Tower locks onto the Giant, but watch it as it's just out of range of the balloon, 1 space off, too far to the side. But in the meantime, Paven has no answer to the Prince's charge. He drops the minions, but not before that Prince just about shears that tower in half. And suddenly this battle is close once again, despite that big balloon push from Paven. So with 2 minutes left, he gets ready for the Elixir Collector, but here comes the Minor Poison Goblin Barrel. And check out that Goblin Barrel in the far corner. Works out pretty well. The Barbarian's out of range, and that tower just about falls to a very unusual attack combination. Barbarians split up, and they are not going to be able to be effective that way, as just 2 head for the tower. The Princess works cross lane on them. Princess on Princess action, and Paven will take out the opposing Princess. His survives. Elixir Collector is pumping. He is about 500 hit points behind on that left tower, and the Ice Spirit just enough to finish off the already injured Princess. Less than 90 seconds left. Paven going for the Balloon Giant push down the left lane once again. This time the Prince from afar and the Inferno Tower, but neither can stop the balloon. The balloon again just floating out of range of that Inferno Tower. Paven's opponent not learning his lesson is going to lose a tower because of that mistake right there. The Miner working on the other tower, the Princess, the Poison. The Elixir Collector goes down, the Princess falls as well. 1 minute left, and his opponent is just laughing. Now that, I don't know, the laughter right there always confuses me. Is he laughing nervously? Is he laughing at Paven? What is he? Does he know something that Paven doesn't know? I don't know. You never know with the laughter, and that's why I'm ready for new emotes, more emotes that can kind of give a more specific message than just laughter. Here comes the Goblin Barrel, back off to the side once again, countered by arrows immediately. They don't get a single shot off on that tower. That is an interesting Inferno Tower right there. Not sure. Maybe just trying to prepare for a Balloon Giant push down that left lane. I think he figures he can tie it up right here with about 700 hit points to go. Minor Poison going down, last 15 seconds. Minor working hard, Poison Spell grinding away at the tower, down to about 100 hit points, just under 100 hit points, but the poison expires. Goblin Barrel's gonna have to make it. Here it comes with 5 seconds left, but the arrows are ready. goblins don't get a single shot, time runs out, tears of sadness, and this match is over. A very, very close 1-0 win against a higher level player. So let me know what you think about this deck and Giants in specific. I still say there's about a 75% chance we see a slight nerf to Giants in a future balancing update. Thank you guys again, as always, for sticking around all the way to the end of the episode. Please do hit that thumbs up button, subscribe for the earliest update and sneak peek information, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full attacks.
Galley dog, I guess it's not true what they say. You can't teach an old dog new tricks.